What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third episode of the BTW Podcast, Beer, Toys, Wrestling. I'm Nate Gleason, joined by Lance Johnson
Hello.
and Dustin Hayward.
Yo.
All right. Um, man, do we got some shit going on this week, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
jeez.
It's as much people want to, get escapes from this whole situation. It kind of is a reality. But more onto that later. Let's start with the B in this shindig. What's everybody drinking tonight?
I'll go first because I'm quick and easy tonight. I have me a wonderful Coke Zero Cherry Vanilla.
All right. Hey, actually, I have not tried that yet. I've only had the orange vanilla. How is the cherry vanilla?
I like the Cherry Vanilla better. I actually used to get the Cherry Vanilla Pepsi because Coke didn't have one. Um, so I happen to be a big fan of it. It's kind of harsh to say it's like Dr. Pepper because it's not really.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just enjoy the flavor because I like cherry Coke, I like vanilla Coke, and I like them together. I'm not a particular fan of the orange vanilla Coke because I just don't like the way they go together.
I thought it was
Unless
horrible.
there's,
Yeah.
unless there's a decent amount of alcohol in it, I'm generally skipping it.
Honestly, what
But
I think is better is doing the regular vanilla Coke Zero and then adding an orange vodka to it. That's a good combo.
yeah, that would be good. Or you can, if you take like whipped vodka and add it to the vanilla or orange vanilla Coke, it comes out almost like a creamsicle.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, so if you're okay with creamsicles, it's a creamsicle that'll get you drunk. Uh, I
That sounds horrible, said no one ever.
right. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna mix the cherry vanilla Coke with. I not planning on it. At least not for the foreseeable future, because you want to keep the immune system up, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's not a valid. That's not a. Sorry, that is not a bad idea. Valid reasoning is what I meant to say. Um, um, and yeah, we're pretty much inside all the time here, so I'm not as worried about it. Um, but again, we are skipping ahead. Dustin, what are you sipping on tonight?
Just some straight Jim Beam with honey over ice.
All right, all
It's
right.
real simple.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna shoot you guys a
Absolutely not.
picture in the chat right now as to what I have fixed myself. I'm I really get into mixology, so I think I mentioned that in the first episode that I like playing around. So that is what I've created tonight. Um, Lance here introduced me to Town Branch bourbon, which we've
Yeah, I did.
discussed. And so I have made myself just a good old fashioned whiskey sour using the Town Branch.
That's
That's,
wonderful.
it does look great.
And it is. Yep. just just took my first sip. It is wonderful. All right. So while continuing in the beer category here, um, uh, and I guess I should say that each of our three topics kind of have to intertwine with the whole COVID-19 fiasco, um, and part of that getting alcohol. Now here in New Hampshire, um, a lot of the craft breweries are starting to offer delivery services.
Yeah.
I know my favorite brewery, Pipe Dream, they started by offering it only to about Derry, which is very close to where they are, but they've expanded their delivery radius down to like the Salem Pelham area, which is about a 20-minute hike from there. I have not taken advantage of that yet because don't need to. Um, but how is it where you are, Dustin?
It's pretty much the same. Everything's shut down to being delivery or pickup. Um, yeah, it's just trash.
Yeah, yeah. And Chris Sununu signed an order. Our governor signed an order that now restaurants can sell bottled wine and beer. Um, I know that in New York and stuff, they actually are allowing people to get uh, cocktails to be taken out, which just seems a little scary to me.
Yeah.
But you know, hey, all the more power to them. Um, so uh, that's all I got. Who else wants to add something?
The one brewery slash kind of like pizza place that talked about in the first episode, Yakida's is offering take home growlers.
Mm.
So that's pretty all right. I might take advantage of that sometime this week.
Yeah, Pipe Dream has a new sour out that I really want to try. Um, so maybe I'll hop on that. I don't know what the delivery fee is like. They also make pretty decent pizzas there too. Um, but I know next week we're planning on going down to one of our favorite joints to get takeout, the Copper Door here in Salem.
Right.
And I just, get some food, support the local businesses because it is a very local business.
Yeah, dude. For real. Anybody that has the means, please order from your locally owned restaurants right now, because if you want them to be around in a month, that's the only way they're going to be.
And I guess we could kind of branch that into this category, Dustin. Let's talk about what you are going through right now because you work at a restaurant.
Right. It's a whole handful of uncertainty. Like they're telling us we had to be closed till the 30th of March. I'm like, all right, I figured that out. I took one of my weeks vacation for this week coming up to try to make sure that my staff had hours to get by since they didn't have vacation time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make sure everybody can get by as best we can. No, yeah, I don't know. They closed schools down here until May 1st, so we're really hoping we're not going to get an update of not being able to open until May 1st because, man, it cut business down to about 20 to 25% of what we were doing.
Oh man.
Dude, it's harsh. It was like a real kick in the teeth.
Wow. Yeah, they closed schools in New Hampshire for 3 weeks here.
Yeah.
Well, they start online classes on Monday.
Okay, so I mean, now is that what I haven't heard is that a statewide thing or is that?
Oh yeah. So
it is.
What they ended up doing is they ended up more or less announcing, hey, the schools are going to be closed.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're closed, they're going to get like deep sanitizing, cleaning, and all of that good stuff. And then they'll reevaluate on April 3rd and then make an announcement. But they gave everybody last week off. And then during that week, they were like, all right, everybody come up with an online curriculum that your kids can do, or that the kids can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so they are using whatever the school is, just used to using. And they're all starting online classes on Monday. It'll kind of be like a college online class in that the teachers will have certain hours that you can log in and ask questions and get a live answer from. And then they'll post the assignments as well. But so far, that's what at least my school district is doing. I don't know specifically how the other school districts are handling it.
Yeah, I have no clue about Pelham. No clue what they're doing. I have to assume they'd probably be following suit with everyone else.
It's the same for here. My daughter got sent home with an iPad, basically, and she has her assignments on there and can get a hold of her teacher via email at certain times of the day.
That's nice that they're providing hardware to do it. I highly doubt that they're doing it for the school district down here in Pelham.
No, they are. So
They are?
one of the things that Sununu had done is he said, whatever you need, we're going to take this week to figure it out, and we're going to take this week to make it happen. So some schools needed more laptops because most schools have some laptops. So anyway, they gave out laptops like at Noah's school. They gave out laptops if you needed laptops, but they said, we don't have a ton. So if you can do it from home, if you have the capacity, please do that.
All right. I am just kind of lost on how to proceed from here because, and I probably should have opened up with this, but as everyone knows who's listening to this, the country is going through a pandemic, this COVID-19 thing, and life is very, very different from what it has been for the past long time. And it's affected everything, as Dustin said there, his work life. Lance, I know you're from home now, right?
Yep, all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. So it's crazy. On a personal note for me, it looks like that I'll keep it a little vague and just say possibly a family member has been exposed, which means there's a possibility we here have been exposed. So, we're kind of down to only necessary grocery store trips, and other than that, just all the time, we got to wait 3 weeks to find out if anything is going to go on, and I don't even know if there's really reliable available testing here in New Hampshire yet. I don't think
there is actually. So we've got so they just rolled out the non-discomfort and the quick 45-minute test on Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
But in New Hampshire, if you have to get tested, you're driving to. I don't know if it's for everywhere. I know I heard from WMUR. This is what was happening. So you have to drive to the National Guard Reserve Base in Manchester.
Okay.
And they have a drive-through testing facility there.
All right. I have not been keeping up with the news as much as I probably should have, but it's just it's nothing good, So I haven't been keeping up with that. I've been occupying time with Netflix and stuff like that while staying in, and that's about it. All right, let's go to a slightly happier, snappier subject. Um, uh, Toys. What has everybody's week been like as far as toys, and how has this situation affected how you're either buying, selling stuff and whatnot?
So I don't really buy or sell, um, and I haven't really gotten anything in recently. I know last night, yeah, because that was Saturday night. Last night, I decided to place an order with my 4-inch figure Bay Boss Fight Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I found out from one of their employees that their Mighty Steeds collection had come in. Um, so I was interested in that because I want to make a particular character from a book series. I think I talked about the Percy Jackson stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I finished Percy last week before, started on Heimdall. Heimdall's almost done just because he's not a Percy Jackson character, but I just felt like the boss fight Knight of Accord with their what is it? It's their coffee blank figure to replace some pieces here and there.
Mm.
Slightly modified would make a great Heimdall. So I went ahead, I did that. He's upstairs drying right now, and then I ended up ordering quite a bit of stuff off of Boss Fight because I initially went there to order 3 things. I was ordering the Mighty Steed in the shield color, which is the white one, along with their Pegasus and Unicorn upgrade kit to get the wings, because the figure I want to make is a Pegasus. It's going to be quite a pain in the butt to do because it's all black, so I'm going to take a white horse and just go all Rolling Stones and paint it black.
Right.
But that's the figure that I want to end up doing, so that's a figure that I will end up doing. They do have a black one, but I didn't get it because the wings that are colored for the black one are bat wings.
Yeah.
That comes with a whole different kit to make it kind of like a demonic horse, which is really, really cool. But this particular character I'm making, Blackjack, is just a regular Pegasus with feathery wings.
All right.
So we'll see when that comes. And again, another good reason that I like shopping from Boss Fight is they're at least semi-local to me. So I'm helping those guys out. They're great people in general. I absolutely love the stuff that they make. Again, it's 4-inch figures. They just started getting into the 6-inch figures with their which line was it? It was their Lucha Libre line, which they have Penta El Cerro and his brother Ray Phoenix. They just came out with that along with some accessory kits that are like tables and stuff like that. Those are really great looking. I'm kind of disappointed that they were able to come out with those figures, and then at Toy Fair you also had All Elite Wrestling being like, oh yeah, those guys are in Wave 2. You know, because I would have loved for Boss Fight to get the business because they do such a great job with their figures. And I think that's the end of my rant on Boss Fight. I haven't gotten any new Transformer stuff because there hasn't been any new Transformer stuff lately. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of my rant.
All right. No, and we should say Boss Fight Studios, their headquarters is right down in Norwood, Massachusetts.
Yep. Company,
and
fantastic people.
And they are both. Lance and I have a couple of friends who work there, and they are just really cool. I don't do much with action figures, which is why I haven't really picked up anything. I've handled it, and it's great stuff, but it's just nothing that I really dive into that much. Now, wait to see where the wrestling line goes, and then we'll see, you know, maybe. But yeah, quality stuff, nice people. I always love it when big outlets like Zack Ryder's podcast gives them shout outs.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's fun to hear the little guys get acknowledged.
I mean, I would argue that they're on the border of not being a little guy anymore. Are they a small company? Yeah, but I mean, because the first line they came out with was Vitruvian Hacks,
Yeah,
right? They came out with Series 1 and Series 2, and that one took a little bit for everything to get going. But once they got going, they came out with Bucky O'Hare figures.
hmm.
They're coming out with Flash Gordon figures, with Phantom figures.
They've
They've
acquired some
got
good
a
licenses.
zombie line that they branched off to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nate, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that they've acquired some good licenses.
Oh, yeah.
And I say little guy because I'm talking in comparison to
Fair.
to Mattel or Hasbro.
Yeah.
No, I'd say, I mean, you look at companies like Jazzwares,
Yep.
who, I don't know much about the company, but if I had to guess, it's a similar type sized operation to Boss Fight. Um, they are definitely beyond. They've grown beyond that niche, artistic, independent toy company. They're getting in there. They are definitely getting their foot in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And deservedly so. I mean, again, I can't say enough about those people. Every single one of them there are awesome. And I think, and I don't know who they have there in terms of all the designers and things now, but I think all of the designers used to work for Hasbro on G.I. Joe. At least they did the last time I was there.
Yeah. And wasn't the last time you were there the last time I was there too?
No, I think I went there one other time, or one or two. I think because you and I have only been together down there once, right?
Yeah, it was for the Battle Force New England.
Yeah. So I've been down there for Battle Force New England. I was down there once before that for what was it? It was to help them move in, because they were,
Yeah.
hey, if you guys come and help us, we'll take care of you guys, whatever it is. So it was awesome. We got there. They got us pizzas. They were like, hey, we've got a packy across the store. There's beer in the fridge. I was like, that's awesome. So we help them move stuff around and set up. They gave us some stuff that I don't know. I think we can talk about it now, because or that stuff ended up being released. But I think when they moved in, the week after, they were doing New Jersey. What's the New Jersey Toy Fair?
NJCC.
Yeah, NJCC. And they were premiering a couple of different just blank figures. There were 100% blanks. So they come with optional heads, hands, feet. But other than that, it's just a regular figure with nothing on it. So it's like the base of a character builder, right?
Mm.
And we got a bunch of those before in new colors that hadn't been released yet, or that were being released the next weekend. So awesome people. And then there was one other time after that I went with Dacre. No, because Dacre and I have been 2 times. 2 times? 3 times?
So have you been after that boss fight?
Yeah, so I was after that. I've been after that. I've been there probably like 4 or 5 times.
Right.
I love going there. Absolutely love going there. The place it's literally like a candy store, and um, I think the last time I was there was for their soft open,
Mm.
because they had finally set up their retail space, um, or their in-house retail space, I should say, because everything was generally online, but this was their in-house retail space. They invited a bunch of people for the soft open. It was great. We got thank you for coming stuff, and we got some discounts for going. And I think one of the other cool things that they do too is if you happen to be able to be invited to one of their events, because a lot of the events are invitation only.
Mm.
If you happen to be invited to some of the events, a lot of times they'll have like their parts bins. Like they'll bring their parts bins from out of the back, have a baggie for you, and just be like, "Here, go ahead, go to town, fill up this baggie with pieces, and we'll charge you a flat rate for it," which is really really cool.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that from the last gathering we went to, and
yeah,
and that was awesome. It was really awesome.
absolutely.
Um,
To me, if you're a gamer, they're like the CD Project Red of toys.
yeah, yep. Um, I will say maybe you should let me know next time you're going down.
Oh yeah,
Um, but I know that they're coming out with a Centaur
yeah,
figure based.
essentially.
And I do love me some Mortal Kombat Motaro.
That would be
Um,
cool.
and I think that would make a cool base for that. All right,
I
so go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure if you got to walk through the offices and see some of the customs that they make, because they make, and I don't know if you got a chance to see those, but they make customs out of all kinds of figures. I'm probably sure now that they've designed that Centaur one that at least one of their designers has a custom one sitting on a shelf in an office somewhere.
That's awesome. So Dustin, how about yourself in this week?
Slow week again, man. But
Yeah,
the want to spend money right now is very very slim.
yeah.
I picked up the new Doom Eternal game.
How's that?
Fucking awesome so far, but I've only played for like 3 hours. So far it's great though.
Good to hear. Yeah, I like the look of the McFarlane figure that came out with that. And,
Yeah, I almost bought it, but the articulation is a little limited for me.
yeah, yep. Um,
I haven't seen the McFarlane figure yet because I'm not a big collector of like Doom action figures or video game action figures. I have a few. I've made a few, but so what's the articulation like on that Doom figure?
It's got like the like the
it's
single
basic.
joint elbow,
Yeah,
single joint knees. The torso's decent, and the hips are decent, and the ankles and all that stuff is okay. But it's just the single knees and single elbows get super limited, especially when they don't even get to 90.
the thing that irks me the most about that figure is the head because it's just the helmet on
Oh yeah.
an extended peg ball joint. So
Yeah,
when
so if you
you
lift the head up, you can look up super far, but he has no neck or
yeah, there's
anything.
there's no detail there. It's just inside a helmet with the stem of the ball joint.
Yeah,
It's very off putting.
yeah,
That's unfortunate.
yeah. And so beyond that, yesterday I got my ship notification for my classified snake eyes, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward. Definitely next week, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that. Um, Again, as I just said, action figures themselves, I don't do a ton with, so I didn't go down that GI Joe rabbit hole.
Yeah,
But I'm excited to hear people's thoughts. Um, as for me this week, hardly anything new from what we talked about last week. I will say I did have some Amazon credit and a couple of gift cards that I didn't realize I had. So I went ahead and put in an order for the first 3 deluxes of Earthrise, Transformers Earthrise. So in my hands right now, I have Hoist and Wheeljack, and Cliff Jumper should be here soon. I just opened the box right before we started recording, so I haven't gotten a chance to play with them yet. And from everything I hear, and Dustin, you know this because Pete's been talking about it in the BC chat, that Cliff Jumper is just amazing. Hello?
I think you threw to Dustin, and Dustin wasn't there. So my only issue with Cliff Jumper, and I know I've seen a few people talk about it, and if you're buying the whole line, everything averages out, is the size of Cliff Jumper.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
He is.
Not that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it fits in scale, but if I'm paying $20 for what's essentially like a Legends class figure,
You want a lot more with it.
yeah, I'm well, not necessarily that I want a lot more, because it does look like G1 Cliff Jumper. They did an amazing job on him, but I would have to, like, I need it to be absolutely stellar, and more importantly, and I think we've talked about it before, it's got to make me feel like my figure that I have, the Cliff Jumper that I have, needs an upgrade. And that one doesn't quite do that for me. Again, not to take anything away from it. It's an awesome figure. It just, for me, I've got the Classics GDO Cliff Jumper, which is which is
the prime Cliff Jumper with the G1 head.
Right, exactly. So I have him. He's my Cliff Jumper. Why is he my Cliff Jumper? Well, because I'm a fan of The Rock and The Rock voice Cliff Jumper in TFP. It's the same reason I have 2 zombie Cliff Jumpers and another regular TFP Cliff Jumper floating around.
Yeah.
So for me, it doesn't, that kind of attachment, that association doesn't really lend itself to me having to replace that Cliff Jumper. Again, not taking anything away from that Cliff Jumper, because it looks very good. But the other thing that I've noticed in general with Earthrise is this is the line of the backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's got a backpack.
Yeah.
Your backpack can, in some cases, your backpack can come off, which is fine, but then you got to keep track of your backpack.
Yep.
So I thought it was kind of interesting that they, kept going with that whole backpack thing, but it fits with the line. If you look at the rest of the line, everybody's got a backpack.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I don't know. See, for me, it's not about one representation of the character, because I'm a big fan of the comics. So yeah. I like having, like, I'm not going to get rid of my universe Hoist or Trailbreaker when that Trailbreaker comes out, because I really enjoy the IDW representations of them. I have a whole shelf designated to just IDW stuff. So that's that. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Another thing that I just got, so you know that I was I wanted to grab the Battle Masters from Skywarp. I never got a chance to. I did just get pretty much retail, I got an extra Caliburst and an extra Aimless, and was realizing that if you take the limbs from Aimless and put them on Caliburst body and add a lick of paint, you basically got Hair Splitter.
Yep.
And then you're left over with this interesting looking one with a blue body and black limbs from the blue body from Aimless, the black limbs from Caliburst,
Right.
which is kind of cool, and frankly, I think would fit with Scourge better than what they gave you for Fracas, which I get it. It's a G1 homage, but still, that just seems a little cooler to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about it last week with Pinpointer, right, and Crosshairs, and the Netflix series Megatron.
Yeah,
I'm not paying for an entire figure. That Megatron is what, $40. Skywarp was $50, right, when it was at full retail. I'm not paying that just to get one Battlemaster out of it to complete this one other guy. So that's why I took, who was it? It was Firebolt, I think they renamed him. It was Hot Rod's Target Master, because all that Pinpointer is a recolor of that Target Master. So I took an extra one I had. I won it at one of the raffles that we had, and threw some paint on it, gunmetal gray on the legs, because I liked it more than just say a flat or a glossy black. And then everything else pretty much got painted red. Didn't bother painting the face at all, because you know what? I'm going to put it in gun mode, and it's probably not coming out of gun mode.
There it shall live.
Exactly. So I did that, and I got myself a Pinpointer, and it looks pretty decent too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I did see some pictures, and you're right, Ed. I was impressed. Dustin, are you back yet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good. So continuing with the toys theme, let's talk about TFCon here. TFCon was unfortunately canceled because of the COVID-19 coronavirus thing that's going on. However, they did put out the slides from what would have been the third-party panel. So has anyone else checked those out yet?
I have not. I've been at work almost all day, so.
Lance, I mean, I know 3P isn't your bag much, but have you checked those out?
It used to be my bag, and then I got out of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I haven't taken a look at those, but are they on TFW?
Yeah. I've got the page up right now. And obviously, I mean, Dustin, you're pretty much the only Masterpiece collector out of the three of us here now.
Right.
And so starting from kind of the beginning here of the slide, the slides are out of order from what they did and in the video. But Zeta's coming out with a Bumblebee Blitzwing figure, which looks really good. I mean, obviously we'll need to see final production things, but I think this thing could stand toe to toe with 3 Zeros any day, which I know is a bold statement.
Yeah.
Because I get it. I get 3 Zero is just out of this world.
Yeah, I have the Bumblebee, and it's incredible. I'm waiting on the Optimus right now. I'm waiting on my pre-order to come in.
And are you getting the Blitzwing as well?
No, I opted out of that. I figured the Bumblebee and the Optimus is all I need for a proper display for that representation.
Those are the two important ones.
Right.
So we have this newer company, and I'm not familiar with their previous offerings, but it's called Lemon Tree, um,
Okay.
and they are doing a Bumblebee Prime, um, a Blitzwing, a Shockwave, and we'll circle back to that Shockwave because that's interesting. But they're doing a Bumblebee, a Prime from Bumblebee, Blitzwing, a Soundwave, an Ironhide, another Shockwave from Bumblebee, and a recolor of that Blitzwing, who happens to be a Conehead. All of these are going to be in, I would call them chug scale. They are calling them Studio Series scale. But, floating around that 6-inch mark.
Right.
And I find this fascinating because for a lot of people, and I don't know whether we've touched upon this or not in the previous two, but for a lot of people, the chug scale is kind of dead.
Yeah.
At least in the third party scene.
Yeah, definitely.
The chug scale is very much alive for mainline collectors.
Yeah, third parties, MP or Legends, more or less.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, so this is a fascinating move by this company, in my opinion. Depending on what the prices are, I may bite on one. But let's circle back to that Shockwave that I said we'll come back to here. I should also mention that the names on all these are hilarious. So Prime is called Lemon Prime. The Blitzwing in Starscream colors is called Star Cream. The Shockwave I'm about to talk about is called Purple Potato. The Soundwave is Blueberry.
I love third-party names.
Ironhide is Carrot.
I don't see anything wrong with this.
There's
Especially
nothing wrong with
of DBZ. If you're a fan of DBZ, you're used to having everybody named as a vegetable.
Yeah.
Right?
Fact. And I do love Dragon Ball. So.
Yeah. And the other Shockwave is Eggplant. So let's go back to Purple Potato, that Shockwave I was talking about. What I love about this Shockwave, it's not completely original, but it's damn near close because it doesn't turn into a space gun. Take a guess as to what it turns into.
A potato?
No. But it's something that you something from your childhood and not the space gun. Go ahead and tell me. You got nothing? Okay. What it turns into is the ship that Galvatron got from Unicron.
Oh, that's sweet.
So, and I know there's a name for that ship, and I completely forget it.
Yeah.
Sorry, jump in real quick. It is the Nemesis. No, it's not.
No, it's not the Nemesis. Nemesis was the Decepticon ship that came to Earth. And this is just awesome. This is, aside from the little plastic one we're going to get with HasLab Unicron.
Yeah.
This is the first physical representation of this ship that we've had.
That is really cool. Like, I'd buy it just for the ship mode.
Exactly, and it comes with a stand. Comes with
I know they're selling that too.
Yeah, comes with a stand. They're including blast effects for the thrusters.
Fuck yeah!
I mean, and if this comes in at that 6-inch Studio Series scale, and it's reasonable, not like $100 for the original TFC Constructicons. If it's reasonable, I would definitely entertain picking this up because that's just cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd definitely display it with my HasLab Unicron when that comes in.
Yeah. Rub it in, why don't you? After that,
Just doesn't ruin everything. We'll be all right.
So after that, there's more from that company, Banana Force, who did the non-transforming RID Prime. They're doing a black repaint of that. They're doing two. Okay, so I can't tell what this initial figure is. Lance, are you looking at the pictures?
I was just in the bathroom. Let me. All right. So which one are we looking at?
MPL2 from Banana Force.
MPL2 is Ultra Magnus.
That's Magnus. Oh yeah, now I see it.
Because he's going to combine with that Prime.
Yeah, now I see it. Okay.
Oh yeah, it looks like they're going for the God Magnus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. And they're coming out with a Die Atlas, which is very kind of IDW stylized, but that kind of hits me where I like it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Die Atlas, old and new. I do not have a G1 one, but I use the Universe King Atlas, the repaint of Machine Wars Starscream.
I always wanted to get that. I love that figure.
Yeah. I say Machine Wars. It's actually a repaint of the Stalker Skyquake from
G2?
Yeah. G1.5, as they call it, because it was only in Europe.
Right.
But I'm really adjusting the nerd glasses right now.
Speaking of, G1.5 in Europe, when the hell are we going to get an updated Clench?
Oh, yeah. we got the BotCon one.
That's not enough. I want a whole new ground up figure. Like I love the design of that dude so much.
Oh, I do too. I mean, it's a European fire truck. What's not to love? Let's see here. We have a Prime coming from Banana Force, a G1-ish Prime, and so okay. Here's how I look at this Prime. Do you remember when Fans Project came out with that other kit that you could put on Prime, and it looked kind of wonky in both bot mode and mode?
Yeah, it was that weird, had no place in anything kit.
Exactly. That's what this Prime reminds me of.
So, Nate, if it makes you feel better, because I'm scrolling up and down as we go.
Yeah.
MPL 04 is officially listed not as Prime, but as Jinrai. So I think that might account for some of that wonkiness, because the original cab for Power Master Prime was that very weird kind of looking thing where you actually just turned him around and his arms folded out of his chest, and all of a sudden he had these giant chest windows.
Right. And I was not looking at the actual listings. I was just going through the thumbnails. But yeah, and you know what? Once again, that makes sense now.
And it looks, if I go back and look at the MPL 01B, it looks like that they borrowed very heavily when they did that Jinrai from that figure, because the MPL 01B is basically Fire Convoy, Super Fire Convoy.
Yeah.
So it looks like they borrowed very heavily from a lot of the design elements on that for Jinrai. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to come out with, or maybe when they come out with that MPL 02 Magnus, if that's going to actually break down into armor, creating kind of like a weird crossover figure almost, because you'll have Jinrai instead of Fire Convoy with Magnus to make your version of God Prime, and that could be pretty cool.
I wouldn't hate it, that's for sure. So now we get into probably my current favorite third-party company, Transform Element. Just because I got their Prime and it is amazing. It's just,
Isn't it?
It's so amazing. I wish that TF Safari hadn't screwed up my shipment and skewered the packaging, because even the box on that thing is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So they're coming out with a Bumblebee, which, it doesn't look like they're doing anything new or innovative here. It looks like this could fit in the Legends department here, which the more I think about it, is actually new. Not personally interesting to me, but new. But it's the other reveal that has me, I'm going to say it, moist. It is a Beast Wars Scorponok.
Oh, yeah, they did a
surrender
black
that now.
too.
So Beast Wars Scorponok is one of those figures that has immense sentimental value to me, because I got him on a whim. Ma just got me a figure when we were at KB when I was a kid, and it was Beast Wars Scorpion, the original Scorponok. That thing went to school with me every day in the 3rd grade.
Nice.
And somehow, before I did the big, high school purge, which I wholeheartedly regret, somehow, after all that time, I had a working B drone trigger and both missiles.
Nice.
Now, about 3 years ago, I was able to get another Scorponok for a very good price. Both missiles. B-drone trigger is kind of on its way out, so I make sure to really never use that feature. But I am super excited to see what they have in store for this guy, because as shitty as the CGI was in that show, it is very CGI accurate.
I mean, I don't know that I'd call the CGI shitty. I remember it was the second show of its kind to be fully CG.
After Reboot,
the first US one, right? Because the
Yeah.
only other one before that was Reboot. And if we look at it in today's standards, it's not good by any means in terms of the animation. But if you look at it from back then, it was incredible back then.
And that's more than fair. I mean, I know I was blown away by it as a kid, as a 3rd grader, watching it, almost every morning. But yeah, I am excited to see how this evolves and see where this is coming from. Other than that, hang on, let me get to the master list here. We have.
All right, let me throw in just one more that has me interested. I'm probably not gonna get it, but it's that company. If you're looking at Gang Toys, they released what looks like it's a Beast Wars-esque dive bomb.
Yes, and that was actually what I was about to touch on next. Was that dive? Now, I dig the aesthetic here.
Very much so.
I like it. Now, unfortunately, if I had to guess, it's probably MP scaled.
I would assume so, but that means you're getting an MP Predaking. Do you really want that? Do you really want to pay for it? Everybody's different. I just think it's a cool idea.
Exactly. And that's the whole bit about this. Is it's everybody's aesthetic differs, and it's one of the great things about this hobby now. Is you're not trapped into one aesthetic. So that Predaking looks awesome. The silhouette looks okay. Gigapower was disappointing because all they're doing is a muddied up repaint of Slag. Fans Hobby has me a little more interested because they're doing they released more pictures of their Minerva and Cab MP figures. They look great. Say again?
I'm so excited for that.
All right, hey, you know what? At least somebody is. Yeah, they look good. I, in fact, just sold my two headmasters that came with the LGEX God Bomber God Jin Rai set. Because I personally have no attachment to the characters, and I don't see any Chug bodies coming out for that anytime soon.
Right.
So that they're coming out with an upgrade kit uh, for their Overlord. And this kind of reminds me of the old days with TFC. Like, you don't see that much nowadays that companies
what do they
are.
need to upgrade, though?
Say again?
Sorry. So what do they need to upgrade, though? That figure is damn near perfect.
They're giving him a more G1-esque gun that actually
Okay.
has a bullet firing mechanism and more G1-esque chest covers. And looks like a couple of different faces for his head.
Yeah, they have, it looks like a couple of IDW new face and eyes, so you can get some different expressions out of him, including one where he's smiling like he's crazy and one with the sneer, which is all well and good, but I think it's really hard to get into that figure, for the simple fact that we have Carnifex.
Mm-hmm.
Carnifex already did that for
Right.
$180 right out the box.
See, yeah, I have the Fans Hobby Overlord, and that one is more for your like Super Master Force or Super God Master Force line, as opposed to your IDW Wreckers.
Yeah, and here I am sitting, fat, dumb, and happy with my Titans Return Overlord, and I think that's just wonderful.
I have that one too. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and also I should give another shout out to you, Dustin, because it was on a trade that I was able to acquire the third Phase Sixer, Sky Shadow, from you.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see here. So yeah, nothing exciting. Okay, fans. Like we were on fans house, and I was to finish that thought up. I said we haven't seen this too often. A company coming out with an upgrade kit for their own product. That harkens back to the days of TFC, with Uranus and Hercules.
Yep.
Usually it's skilled guys with 3D printers that are coming out with a lot of the upgrade kits today.
Yeah.
So here's what has me excited about Fans Hobby. So I started to get back into Transformers around, I want to say 03, 04. So my very first foray back into it was the Armada video game. For PlayStation 2.
I love that game. It was terrible, but
It's that whole that's the scale I want from now on between Prime and Tidal Wave.
Right.
Like that's how I see Tidal Wave now. He's just this big aircraft carrier, which is what he is.
If they don't make Tidal Wave the next Titan class figure, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah. But so here's what Fans Hobby is doing. They are doing an MP scaled Armada Prime with trailer.
Yeah, that thing looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so I was waiting for you to talk about this. I don't know that it's MP scaled, is it? Because if you go to the base mode, it looks like that the trailer is designed and it fits perfectly for your Micromasters. So I think it might actually be
closer to Chug scale. Yeah, the more I'm looking at these pictures.
Yeah. Which is really interesting because we already know that Takara is coming out with that exact thing at some point.
Yeah, you could be
first foray into Chug scale though.
Be interesting. And you know what, Lance? I think you are right. I'm looking at this picture again where they put all of the mini-cons on his base and everything. There's no way that's MP scaled.
Nope. I don't think so. I
No
think
way.
it's chug scale. I think Fans Hobby is taking a direct shot at Hasbro and Takara because correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Fans Hobby the one that was going to come out with like the 18-inch Unicron that
No,
started
that
all
was
drama
that
last?
that
That
was
was
Zeta.
Zeta.
That
That
was
was
Zeta.
Zeta.
Okay.
But I feel like they're looking, you know, all these third party companies are very incestual. A lot of them own different parts of each other. Um, so part of me wonders if like this is going okay. Well, if you're going to do that to Zeta, look at this. What are you going to do to us?
Maybe. I don't know.
Um,
That's very, very interesting to me. Um, I can't imagine that anybody would take necessarily that kind of shot at Hasbro, but who knows? Maybe
Zeta did. Zeta definitely did.
they did, and Hasbro went back at them. So I think this is going to be like a let's take a shot and see what Hasbro and Takara do, because in the past they didn't really do much of anything.
Yeah.
So are they going to go back to that? Because I mean, if you think back over the years, the entire Chug third party was based largely around combiners.
Yeah.
And then Hasbro was like, "Oh yeah, we can do those,"
Yep.
and they did them. So it's gonna be. I'm real interested to see if there's any backlash because again, it looks like it's a chug scaled figure,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's gonna be, again, direct competition with what Takara is coming out with. I don't know if it's later this year or possibly next year.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm real interested to see what happens now because we may have another summer drama on our hands.
Yep. Yeah, no, you know what? I didn't study this big layout picture they had closely enough, and yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. So again, it all comes down to how much this thing gonna run, and that could be a possibility because I love Armada with a passion. I didn't hate the show either. Um, but yeah, the Armada toys, the Armada Energy, the whole Unicron trilogy, as it's called by the fans, all that stuff. I love. Um, and let's see, fans toys, yeah. Um, have you gotten much into fans toys, Dustin?
Not like some people do.
Not like that one particular person you and I are thinking of.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I think I have 3 Fans Toys Dinobots, and I have Cup.
Yeah.
I think that's the
For better
extent
or
of
for
my
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So fans toys is basically just kind of regurgitating um, reveals here. The Soundwave, which we've been hearing about for years. The Perceptor, which actually looks fun. If it's not a nightmare to transform and has like a real, a better real working microscope, that would be interesting.
Right.
And then we got some mini bots. I think the most exciting thing people were talking about earlier is Jazz and Mirage.
Right. But also Transform Elements making a Mirage, and I'm way more interested in that.
As am I. As am I. I mean, it's probably not something that I'm gonna get because I tried to stick away from the masterpiece aesthetic.
Right.
But yeah. And then we circle around to what we were just talking about, Unicron.
Right.
So,
Yep.
as we know, Zeta was given the smacketh down from Hasbro, and so that Unicron disappeared for a while, for a long while.
Yep.
Only a couple of Chinese retailers still had it on pre-order. And then this company by the name of, I believe, Studio 01 pops up.
Which is just
With
Zeta in a different name.
exactly. That's what I was first referred to by this whole incestuous nature of all these third-party companies, because Transform Element is just a division of Black Mamba.
Right.
And it's all in the family. And so now on all the pre-order sites and everything, they've showed this Unicron without wings and without a head, and like just all the stand parts and stuff hanging off the arms and whatnot. And just looking ridiculous. But in the TFCon panel here, we now have essentially what we were shown earlier.
Right.
And in fact, now they're offering a disconnecting head. So a movable jaw. Like, I guess they have learned nothing.
Right.
Very similar elements to the Hasbro one.
Yes, yep. Now, this thing, unfortunately, is now clocking in at about $100 more than I expected it to. Everyone was estimating $200 on that. Even Zeta was initially estimating $200 when they first came out with these designs. It's now on. I think it's on a few of the sites for $299.99. A couple have reduced their price to like $255. So I'm waiting to see what comes of this, to look at reviews. Maybe, because 200 was kind of the sweet spot for me on this guy. So if we get him that way with a sale or something, then I'd be far more interested. And of course, Dustin, you don't need to worry about it at all because you have HasLab coming.
Right. Yeah. Although, dude, it looks great.
It
poses like a beast.
It's kind of funny because the very last gathering, local collector gathering that we had, that Lance and I were at, we had this discussion talking about which aesthetic we prefer for Unicron. Lance is more on the HasLab side. I am definitely on this side, and it's all about different scenes from the movie, how we classify our Unicron.
Right.
Lance was saying he classifies it from the initial stage that he first transforms.
Right. Exactly. Because when you're looking at that transformation sequence, you see all of that detail super up close that you can see in the HasLab one. And when you come back from further away, which is the aesthetic that Nate likes, to me, all that detail would disappear. But in this particular one, or these third-party ones, they have kind of that smoother detail.
Right.
So
sorry.
Oh, well, no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do very much prefer the detail on the HasLab one. Like, it makes it seem bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is imposing, without a doubt. And I like it. And if I had even the slightest chance to own it, I would. But this one hits me in that special spot where that scene where Unicron is smashing up Cybertron. Like, it's that scene that kind of like it resonates to me with Unicron.
Right.
So that's why this is my preferred one. But so only time will tell to see what happens with the pricing of this guy. Everything looks good. I'm happy that it's still coming out, and I had the utmost faith that after HasLab was over, and we knew it was going to get funded, but after that, I knew things were going to be okay. So I think that's all we got for toys this week, right?
Yeah.
see. So after that Unicron, I mean, their Mastermind Creation came out with a bunch of stuff too.
Oh yeah. You know what? I forgot to look at the
Yeah, there's Deathsaurus. They're coming out with Chrome Dome and Rewind. And then I think it's their Ocular Max, which is their masterpiece stuff. They're doing another Ravage. Looks like it might have the cage. And then they're doing the the Shattered Glass Ravage, which is the white and blue one.
Oh, Susanna, isn't that what that's? Isn't that?
No, give me a second. I'm scrolling up. So their Mastermind Creation. So their Ravage is Jaguar. Then they named the Shattered Glass one Doccat, Doccat. And then they're also coming out with the Azalea Protoform, the P1 RC prototype, and of course their Ocular Max Assaultus or Brutus.
And I had not refreshed the TFW page in a few hours. That's why I missed all that Mastermind Creation stuff. Yes, that Deathsaurus looks pretty as fuck.
Well, I mean, it's Mastermind Creations. When have you seen something from Mastermind Creations and
that doesn't look pretty? Yeah.
No, that's crap. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, and that's so. Yeah, so the Ravage is just a re-release of what they did, and you hit the nail on the head. It comes with the cage and the key, and then the Shattered Glass one, and the Azalea. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. And this. Let's. The final thing. Let's talk about New Age for just one sec, which is Legend stuff. But can we appreciate what they're calling Soundwave?
Maybe.
Scaramanga.
I need
completely a James Bond reference.
Yeah.
100% a James Bond reference. Man with the Golden Gun.
Is it going to be Golden Soundwave from the Golden Lagoon episode?
I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. That is perfect. You know?
Yeah.
Soundwave turns into a mundane boombox. Scaramanga had the Golden Gun, which is a pen, a cigarette case, and a lighter. Oh, love it. All right, I think so. Now I think we're done with toy stuff.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let Lance. I'm gonna let you kick off our Wrasslin segment because I need a pee break.
All right, that is good for me. So wrestling this week was again I think this week might have been weirder than last week, if possible. You had WWE going from the Performance Center again for Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown, they introduced Rob Gronkowski. They brought Paige back to set up Bayley's title match at WrestleMania, which is going to end up being a 6-way match. They, like I said, they introduced Rob Gronkowski as the host, and that was really kind of interesting to watch, especially with no crowd. Again, AEW also no crowd this week, but what they did do, which was interesting, just to kind of differentiate themselves from WWE's product, was to have the wrestlers as the crowd. So you had heels on one side, you had faces on the other, and you could hear them shouting and everything. And of course, the loudest voice of them all was MJF, who is fantastic fantastic. If I could listen to one person talk trash all day in wrestling right now, it'd probably be MJF.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, he is just such a gem.
Yeah.
I love it so much. He was getting into matches. He and Sean Spears were gambling on the sidelines. Um, Also, AEW, I should mention, introduced Brody Lee, formerly Luke Harper of WWE,
So
as
excited for that.
he's the Exalted One. There we go.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they also introduced Matt Hardy, which was super, super, super awkward. We all knew it was coming at some point, but he was back in his broken gimmick, and he was just standing there. They didn't have him with a mic. They didn't have any mics on him. They just kind of zoomed in, and he was doing his weird facial expressions, and there was just no sound, and him there on the TV just making faces.
Yeah, so I got the vibes of Sting, like Crow Sting from back in the day. I was like, oh, he's up in the rafters.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that AEW seems to, I don't want to say rely heavily upon, but they definitely make a lot of things feel like WCW.
Right.
Which for me, in that time, that the 83 weeks there, the Monday Night Wars, I was always more of a WWE fan. Not that I didn't like watching WCW, and not that I don't like watching AEW, but I was always more of a WWE fan. So some of the times I see some of the stuff and I'm like, this is a little too out there. So like you said, where they were referencing Sting with Matt Hardy up in the rafters, and just Matt Hardy kind of hanging out making faces was a little weird to me. But overall, it was a really good show. And then NXT, WWE's third brand, they didn't have one this week, which to me was disappointing. And I don't know if it was venue or if there was a rumor that some of the segments on SmackDown were taped previously in the week. So I don't know if there was interference with that. But what they did is they took probably about an hour and 15 minutes of that 2-hour show and just dedicated it to the history and the rivalry between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, which I'm sure I've said it before. What got me back into wrestling was #DIY. I love those two as performers. I will love those two as performers until the day that I die. I will watch anything that they do. And I did. I watched it was like almost like a build-up of a title card, right? So they built everything up to where they started, where they came, and where they are. They went back as far as coming into WWE, trying out, not making it, kind of sort of making it, but not really, like having to work basically per diem, them stepping up and offering to work the Cruiserweight Classic, then them forming #DIY, then the dissolution of #DIY, then the rivalry between the two of them that spanned 3 matches after the dissolution of #DIY, and now this fourth and final match. And I love watching those two go at it because it's amazing. Every single time I hear either of their music, like, it's going to be something special. To me, they're like, if you remember back in the day, if you were a WWE or WCW fan, right? Like when you heard like the NWO music or Goldberg's music, or when you heard Steve Austin's music or The Rock's music or Shawn Michaels' music, that's the same kind of reaction I get when I hear either of their music or the hashtag DIY music. So for me, for about an hour 15, an hour and 20 minutes, I was happy as a clam. Then they switched into a promo on Finn Balor, which took probably 10 to 15 minutes because he's going to be facing Walter at what's presumably going to be night one of WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is now 2 nights. It's
Right.
Saturday the 4th and Sunday the 5th. So I really think what they're doing is just saying, hey, we are taking WrestleMania and we're going to incorporate NXT into WrestleMania and really anoint it, if you will, as a third brand.
Right.
But other than that, I think that it was I just watched SmackDown this morning, so it's fresh in my head. I think that all the shows were really well done given the circumstances that they're in. And it's one of those things where you just see people perform and what can they do? What are they capable of? And I think you're seeing now what people are capable of. If you haven't seen the Miz and Morrison impersonating the Usos, the New Day, and Heavy Machinery, it's gold. It is.
I have. That sounds great.
It was absolute gold. But yeah, I think we're still a couple weeks away from WrestleMania, and we're kind of chugging along towards it. But how I'm not worried much about the how we're gonna get there, as much as the how's it gonna look. So again, no audience, 2 nights. Rob Gronkowski is your host for both nights. So if you're a New England Patriots fan, you're happy. And if you hate the Patriots, I'm sure you want somebody like Baron Corbin to beat them up. So they're not going to do... I know that they already announced that they're carving out the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and the... what did they end up naming it?
Which 100% Gronkowski's going to be part of.
No, they're cutting that out.
Oh, they're cutting. Okay. I thought you meant.
No, the Andre the Giant
Battle. I misheard.
Cut out. Gronkowski is hosting, and then the Women's Battle Royal. Which, did they rename that yet? Do we know? Does anybody remember? Because it was going to be the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royale, and then everybody was like, no, it was not a good reason. Don't do that.
I think they just called it the Women's Memorial Battle Royal or something like that, because they couldn't come up with it. It's still the trophy. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But they've also cut that out as well. So both of those, from what I hear, are gone, and that's again with the risk of transmission and things like that. They wanted to make sure people were safe.
Not only that, I'm okay with that because it never really served a purpose. No one really got anything out of it. No, if your winners of those 2 matches earned even a mid-card title shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it was fun and it was filler, and I think that's what they were always meant to be.
Mm.
I don't think it was meant to be anything that was life-changing for anybody. I think the only person that came close to having anything life-changing would have been Strowman. He won it twice, and then after this, correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline, I think he won it twice. Then after the second victory that he had the following year, that's when he won the tag titles with Nicholas.
Yeah.
So I think you can maybe sort of call that something. I guess getting a title shot or some kind of title shot. But I think that's the most that's come out of that, because you had Cesaro win the inaugural one, and he didn't really do much with it. And then you had Braun Strowman win a couple, and then you had the one that Mojo Rawley won, of course, with the assist from Rob Gronkowski.
Yep. And that's what I'm waiting for. I want Gronk to come out as a monster heel and tag with Raleigh.
Should Gronk come out as a monster heel just because of the way that the fandom, if they're crossover fans between the NFL and WWE, which we know there are many, should he come out as a monster heel? I absolutely 110% agree with you, because that would just make all the sense in the world. Tagging with Mojo, I don't know that I want to see it. I think it might happen, but I don't know that I want to.
The only reason why I say I want to see it is because it's, in my opinion, it's inevitably going to happen. So
did you see SmackDown on Friday?
I did not. I'm going to get into this a little bit when it's my turn, but keep going.
Okay, so SmackDown on Friday, they had Mojo come out and introduce Rob Gronkowski. Mm-hmm. And then there was Baron Corbin came out and talked some stuff. Then Elias came out. So it was almost like it was serving to pose Mojo as it's serving to basically put Mojo in kind of that tag team role with Gronk to get the association started, and then to also set up the match for WrestleMania between Elias and Corbin, which I know it's a Baron Corbin match we're all super excited about. But
now that sounds like a pee break if I've ever heard one.
But that's the thing. Like, think of the way you think of Corbin.
Yeah.
You think of Corbin the exact way they want you to think of Corbin. So I would argue that Corbin's actually really this job.
No, and I agree with you 100%. Corbin is a phenomenal worker because he works well, and he makes you hate him when he needs to be hated. And it's fantastic. And part of this is from watching his little WrestleMania snippet last year with Chris Van Vliet, when, now that they're breaking kayfabe all over the place, he was just talking with, I don't know what his actual name is, but, and he was just like, wow, he's a cool as shit dude.
Oh, yeah. Do you follow him on Instagram?
I do not.
Okay. He is one of my... So you and I both love grilling.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my favorite follows in the WWE, and it is just based on the content that they put out. One, Otis Stozovic.
Okay.
I love Otis, but Otis is always grilling something, making some massive meal, because he is a bodybuilder and he eats a ton of stuff.
Steaks and weights, baby.
Exactly. And that's what it is. And it's beautiful, and I love it. The other one is Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is a guy who, if you follow him on Instagram, he smokes cigars, he drinks whiskey, and he grills meat.
How are we not best friends?
because he is so good at his job, you hate him,
Yeah, it's just true.
right? But
Yeah.
that's like and I understand he's a loner, which is fine. That was a whole lone wolf gimmick with him coming up.
Mhm.
Once you follow his Instagram, if you're into booze, which all three of us are, grilling, which all three of us are, and just really cool stuff in general, he's a good follow. Um, but yeah, he's so good at his job that he's actually a cool, likable guy, but you hate him.
Yeah.
And
That's,
I
that's
so
awesome.
much respect for that.
Yeah. All right. Dustin, have you gone yet?
No, but I've been kind of on the slow end this week. I still haven't watched Dark.
Okay.
But one, Lance kind of covered most of the AEW stuff anyway.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna get into. I'm not sure entirely what I missed because not only did I hit the restroom, but I also refilled. Uh, but so yeah, I mean AEW. I didn't watch the show in totality, but I caught a lot of the highlights,
Right.
and AEW is where it's at for me, man. Um,
For real.
with Matt Hardy coming in there and them using Vanguard to introduce him essentially. Um, and then the Dark Order there having Brody Lee, um, aka Harper, for those who don't know wrestling too much. Um, uh, that was just awesome. I mean, I think AEW killed it this week.
Yeah, and I love the aesthetic choice of the show to point the hard cam at the entrance ramp
Yes.
instead of at all the empty seats.
Yep.
Even though they had the wrestlers around the ring helping with crowd noise, but just pointing at the entrance ramp to break that illusion made it seem more like a full show.
Yes. Yep. And that is so. When I said I'd get into this when it's my turn, this is essentially what I was going to get to, and that is Raw and SmackDown have been very hard for me to get into with all these tapings with no crowd, no nothing. Um, with AEW having a few of the wrestlers on the side there, especially MJF. Uh, Man, that guy's best heel in the business right now.
That's a fact.
I
And
agree.
his heckling is second to none, and it's just it's great. It really helps out, and I know I need to get into it because I'm gonna watch WrestleMania, of course, but it's tough. It's tough with WWE right now. Um, there's not the crowd. I'm not sure. I'd say the crowd is half the fun, but it's definitely a good third of the fun.
Right.
So here's kind of like what I think in terms of the crowd. I think WWE is good if they and it's one of the things that I wish that they would do, and they did it a little bit during the Miz and Morrison match after their promo against Heavy Machinery. Is you can hear Miz and Morrison talking business to the other side, right? In Miz and Morrison was, they were digging in and they were really playing up the heel. They did that during the mixed match challenge too, when they had the audio
And
that was
yeah,
closer to the side instead of the stadium audio.
yeah,
I think if they had the heels do that more, I think it would help out, and I think it gives you still that difference between WWE and AEW
mm,
because, like you said, the crowd at AEW was mostly wrestlers, and you heard the crowd heckling the wrestlers, you heard the crowd heckling each other. Above all, you heard MJF,
Yep.
which I don't think you can ever go wrong in that situation.
No.
But you didn't hear the wrestlers. I think WWE, the opportunity that they're missing on is that they're so used to and they're so programmed to not have to do those things because of the crowd noise that they end up losing that opportunity. And they were aware of it too, because they did it in the Mixed Match Challenge, both versions of it. So I don't get why they're not going back to that.
I don't know. So yeah, so I need to catch up a little bit on WWE proper, on all WWE, because this whole no crowd thing has taken me out of it a little bit. I will say so, and I think I mentioned this to you, Lance, way before the podcast started. But you know, in NXT, the tapings they do down there, there's that bald guy with glasses who's always there.
I don't think we talked about that, but I know there are a few people who are like NXT super fans, and they are always at the tapings and everything.
Yeah. So that guy Kyle, his name is Kyle, and he has a Twitter account, and like he has an insane amount of followers, simply because he's on, he's in the front row every time. He's one of the, like, I remember one tag match where Otis just like grabbed him on the shoulders and they started headbanging, and it was hilarious. But it's stuff like that I miss from the NXT show specifically. And of course, the larger main product, you had a lot of the crowd depended on a lot. Depending on which city they were in and whatnot. Sometimes you'd have a hot crowd, sometimes not, and it made the experience watching that much different. You could sometimes be down on a crowd because they weren't hot for something really great going on, and sometimes they'd be so noisy that it would be distracting. But that's what I miss out of it, and I need to give it another chance during this whole situation, because this is how it's going to be for probably a little bit longer now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
So yeah. I absolutely understand the adjustment period. I kind of conditioned myself in terms of making sure that I had the appropriate expectations. But I'll tell you right now, on 3/16, when Stone Cold came out and it was silent, like, that to me was the weirdest thing that's happened so far. Because, again, like you said, you associate certain things with certain
crowd reactions. Yeah.
Right. So for me, I associate Stone Cold with a massive
crowd pop. Yeah.
Right? I mean, think about it. Stone Cold's music hits, and everybody, everywhere, goes nuts. And it didn't quite happen.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things. I think after you get through it, if you can get through one episode, sit down, watch the whole episode, and just say, all right, this is how it is. and more importantly, set your expectations, right? It's like when the Transformer movies were coming out, right?
Mhm.
We saw the first one, we were like, oh, this is really good. This isn't bad at all. And that was what the first one was. I was 7.
Yeah.
So we had '07, and we were like, yeah, this is good. And then what happened between the first and second Transformers movies? Oh yeah, the MCU started up. And we were like, okay, well, that was super good. So now our expectations are the MCU. You're not getting the MCU in every movie series. Transformers didn't do it. They attempted to do it with the Universal monsters. That didn't work. Um, it's very, very hard. DC obviously with Warner Brothers didn't do it. Like, it's very, very, very hard to replicate that kind of reaction. So right now you're watching the MCU without all the special effects. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like watching the
It's like
MCU.
watching that leaked cut of X-Men Origins Wolverine without all of that.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean it's all about setting expectations, right?
Mhm.
If you go into it knowing, hey, look, this is what's going to happen, I think you come out of it a little bit better, and you can kind of get through some of the stuff and say, okay, you know, am I really disliking this, or am I disliking it, or am I having trouble adjusting to the change? And I think most people are having trouble adjusting to the change if that's one of your issues. And I know AEW attempted to correct that, and they, in their way, it's fantastic. But like I said, I think WWE already has a way to do it, and I think they just need to get back to that way.
Yeah. 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 All right. I think that's all we got here, guys. I mean, we've kind of covered it all. I'd like to add a little bonus segment in here, and that is to people who are stuck inside during this, who are choosing to not necessarily 100% quarantine themselves, but at least, excuse me, I've had a lot of whiskey tonight, who are choosing to responsibly self quarantine themselves. Um, what are some watch suggestions that all three of you would have? All three of us would have.
All right, I'm letting someone else go first because I think I've gone first in like every segment tonight.
Okay, Dustin, lead us off in this.
Ooh, man. I don't know. I'm on the same. I don't watch a lot of stuff in general anyway. So
Okay, all right. Hey, fair enough. Lance, back at you.
Okay. Let's see. So I would say there's a few things that you can do in general other than just watch, right? So I don't know about places near you. I know the comic store near me, Double Midnight, they are offering curbside pickups and to mail your subscription to you. So if you have a place that can do that, so that way you can get reading material, absolutely do it. If you want to get outside, you can always still walk. You don't have to stay in the house. Just make sure you're given that 6 feet of space. If you have the room, there's lots and lots of videos online to work out, to do yoga, to do meditation, to do whatever floats your boat. Just because you're inside doesn't mean you have to be sedentary. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, if you do like to be sedentary and want to watch some good stuff, if you haven't gotten into Altered Carbon on Netflix and you are a sci-fi fan, I highly, highly recommend it. I haven't been through season 2 yet. I've watched season 1, absolutely love it. Season 2 stars Anthony Mackie. If you have Disney Plus, The Mandalorian is always phenomenal. If you have Hulu, you've got a bunch of stuff on there. Let's see, what is the other Amazon Prime series that I watch? I can't remember it. I'll probably remember it next week. If you're a fan of comedy, Bert, I believe his last name is pronounced Kreischer.
Very familiar. Very
Yep,
familiar.
he just came out with a new special earlier this week, and it is goddamn hilarious.
Yeah, that's the same routine me and my wife just went and seen him in September. So,
oh my God, he is hilarious.
yeah, that shit was great.
I love him. Oh, it's kind of like, if you listen to him, it's kind of the dumb shit that you would do, and that's what I love about it. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to lean not too heavy on Netflix. Voltron, if you haven't seen it. Of course, if we're inside till June, the Transformers series comes out in June. I'm actually wondering if they're going to push that up. I'm very curious to see if they're going to push that up. The last season of what am I thinking of? Star Wars Clone Wars is premiering weekly on Disney Plus. I think I covered most of the stuff except for horror. I'm not really a big horror fan. I don't dislike it. I just find it way too predictable after growing up watching The X-Files, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, your standard horror movie is not going to have that big twist, or that big twist is silly obvious. Yeah, I think I'm good.
It's hard to top anything that's had, 15 seasons now?
For X-Files?
Yeah. I mean, out of the old and the new.
Oh, yeah, the new ones. I mean, the new ones were good, too. Yeah, they're at, 15 seasons, and it's hard to... I think at that point, too, it's hard to come up with a new story that's different than what you've seen the previous week. But I always felt that X-Files did a good job of putting a new and different spin, even if they were reusing, if it was the Monster of the Week episode, right?
Yeah.
The one that always sticks out in my mind is the Chupacabra one.
Yes, I remember
love
that one
right?
very well.
And again, it was your standard Monster of the Week episode, but it was so good because of the way they did it. And I think that's the key. Voltron, right? That's 8 seasons long. That's 8 seasons. That is 2 storylines over 8 seasons. But again, they do it really, really, really well. So I think storytelling over a long, long time like that, it's tough to do, but it's definitely, when it's done right, it's absolutely, those are some situations where it's done well. I would not suggest watching Grey's Anatomy. I know my wife probably would. So if you're listening and you have a significant other who's into that kind of thing, maybe when you're watching Grey's Anatomy with them, just don't be like me. Predict the plot, be right, and then just ruin your spouse's or significant other's evening.
And let me just say, knowing Lance's significant other as well as I do, that's just, oh God, it's funny every time.
She really, really, really appreciates it, which is why Nate and I, in the future, will be relegated to my basement.
Yep. So as for myself, I'm a huge sci-fi guy, and I've not started Altered Carbon yet, but it's on my list of things to do.
So
Hulu is great. There are a lot of current shows that I'm loving. There's The Rookie, which stars my boy Nathan Fillion. Shout out to the brown coats out there. There is the Chicago series, all the Chicago series, Fire, PD, Med, all fantastic. Definitely worth watching, keeping up with. I've just started up The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon, and I'll tell you what, that is hilarious. I
I
can't
heard that was really
believe
good.
how much I'm enjoying it, especially since I don't get a lot of the references in the show because it's catered. I've been watching it a bunch with my dad. It's catered to his generation, not necessarily mine. Um, and so he understands all the little references and nuances that I have no clue about. Um, and I have to mention this because I just read an article in the LA Times about this. If you are curious about what scientists are going through these days to try to help us, the movie Contagion is the most realistic adaptation of that. It came out in 2009, 2011. And like I said, the LA Times just wrote a fascinating article about it and how it really is a good indication as to what everyone behind the scenes are going through now, scrambling, trying to help us.
So wait, you're trying to tell me that Outbreak that my wife just made me watch last night is not true? So there's not some military doctor out there right now trying to solve COVID-19 by jumping from helicopters, defying orders, and shooting missiles into woods?
In the words of Spoonie from Toy Story 4, trash!
On, you just ruined Dustin Hoffman for me.
All right, guys. This has been we were able to do a lot more this week than I thought we would be able to, because of the current crisis everyone is in. So I guess that's it for this week. Try to stay positive, everybody out there. This is one of my favorite phrases. It's a shit sandwich of a situation. But all we can do is just get through it. So if you are enjoying what you're hearing, I'm posting this on my YouTube page right now. So please give the videos a like, subscribe. All this lets me know that you like what we're doing, and of course comment on these things that I post, because we need to know what to change if you're not liking it. So with that, I'm Nate Gleason with Lance Johnson, Dustin Hayward. We will new episodes will be up Mondays, and we'll talk to you next week.